So your time in law enforcement, I know we were talking a little bit beforehand, and you were talking about how this job can affect you and how it can affect you mentally and how it can wear on you. Go in a little bit, what was kind of the eye-opening moment for you? How did you see that, and what did it mean to you?
As I mentioned, I'm, combat veteran. I was out in Iraq, really at the beginning of it, Operation Iraqi Freedom 2-3 timeframe. When you get back and you demobilize, there's yellow ribbon events, and there's all of these processes and procedures and support networks to help our soldiers, and it's obviously well needed, and it's still not enough. There's a great need to keep addressing the mental health issues of our soldiers. But as I got into law enforcement, and right away you recognize that it's very much a paramilitary type of an organization.
Absolutely.
The rank, the structure. And as you start experiencing these things, it doesn't take you more than a couple days as a law enforcement officer before you see your first real, what the hell moment. For some people, it might be some deceased body of sorts. It might have to be, dealing with childhood victims or whatever it is, but you're subjected to different stressors. And these stresses can be very similar, if not equivalent, or sometimes even exceed the stresses that our soldiers deal with. When I was in Iraq, I took IEDs. We took, I think it was a total of 6,400 indirect mortar rounds out there. You have this combat, but you expect that. And you're in the military, you train for it, you're in the combat zone. It's something that you're on alert for. Whereas in law enforcement, you don't expect every single traffic stop that it's going to result in shots fired. You don't expect, as you're going and on a welfare check in a house, and you come around the corner and you see somebody that's blown their head off. You don't plan or you don't expect that your best friend or your field training officer is just not going to make it home, and you're going to get that call that they had been killed in the line of duty. So there's different experiences and traumas, and so I think for the mental health side of things, this is a grossly underserved and underaddressed problem right now. Is that we have people that spend 20 years essentially in a war zone. I don't care if it's a small town agency or if it's Chicago PD. You're dealing with things if you're in law enforcement, and people aren't meant to keep that bottled up for 20 years.
You're absolutely right. And I think, like you said, it really doesn't matter whether you're in a large agency or small agency. The only thing that may differ there is the quantity. Like the quantity of homicides you'll probably see in South Chicago is obviously different than a small jurisdiction outside of that. But you're absolutely right. Why do you think it is not addressed more? Why do you think law enforcement doesn't address it in the same way the military does?
Well, I think maybe this is that good conversation, given the time and what's going on right now in this world, that it needs to be addressed. It hasn't been addressed for one reason or another. Maybe it is because of pride. To say a law enforcement officer is not filled with pride is a blatant lie. And to admit that, hey, I've got an issue, or there's some things going on in my head right now, not everything is okay. I think every single officer is afraid to be immediately put on the rubber gun squad. They're afraid that they're going to be put into administrative duties, they're going to be taken off the street, and their careers are going to be ruined. And the same thing was happening in the military. It took executive orders and all these rules and changes to come down through the Department of Defense side to say it's okay to ask for help. Generals had to be called in to tell the forces that it is okay, your career's not going to be ruined, nothing's going to happen to you, we want you to get the help, you need to get the help, and you're going to return to your job just as normal.